Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers. Welcome to episode 55 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Today, our guest is Coss Marte, who's the founder of ConBody Bootcamp Studio. Coss is an entrepreneur making waves in the fitness industry, and his business, ConBody, employs formerly incarcerated people as fitness trainers and offers them a second chance at employment and turning their lives around. Now, Coss's story is unique because he himself served time in prison on drug charges as he used to operate a multi-million-dollar drug business out of the Lower East Side. So in this podcast episode, we really go deep into his life before and after prison and kind of what are the things and the transformations that he's made since launching ConBody, and what does he hope to do with this so that it can positively impact many people's lives in the future. So some of the things that we discuss in today's episode is what inspired Coss when he was younger and why he started hustling. We talk about what led him to prison and some of the major changes that happened in his life that caused him to really pursue a new purpose. We talk about the two things that will make you a successful entrepreneur. And Coss also talks about the spiritual awakening that he had while he was in prison and the moment that changed his life. So I don't want to give away too much, but that was really impactful and really inspiring. And it really hit me hearing this story because I think a lot of us have had stories like that where something has happened to us that really opened our eyes to what we should be doing with our lives. We also dive deep into the idea of what change really means, how to define success, and the biggest challenge that Coss is facing now with building out ConBody. So I really hope that you guys enjoy listening to his dream driving story. Before we get into the podcast episode, I want to remind you that if this is your first time listening, or if you have listened already and haven't subscribed, make sure that you're subscribed to our Dreams and Drive channel, whether it be on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, wherever you're listening, hit that subscribe button so that you get our new podcast every week. If you want to join our Dreams and Drive community, all you have to do is go to dreamsanddrive.com/join, and you can fill out our form there to get access to our weekly exclusive newsletter. Please, 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 one of the things that I love seeing within the last weeks has been the engagement on social. It's been so fun getting in on social and talking to you all. So make sure to use the hashtag Dreams and Drive. Make sure you're also following us across the board, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Dreams and Drive. Lastly, if you want today's show notes, all you have to do is go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 55. I hope that you guys enjoy this one. I know you will, and I can't wait to hear what you think. One more thing is, sorry about the sound issues on this podcast episode. I realized that for a few of the episodes, I did something wrong when I was recording them, so I apologize in advance. But don't worry, the content still is going to be informative. There just might be some sections where the sound is a little bit off, so I do apologize, but that should be fixed for episodes moving forward. Hi, Coss. Thank you so much for being a guest on today's episode of Dreams and Drive.
Yes, I'm excited. Thank you.
You know, I've been following ConBody for a while. It seems like there was a period of time where, I don't know if you did a lot of press, but I was like getting all the different articles and all the different features that you were on. So I screenshotted you and was like, you know what, I have to reach out to him eventually for Dreams and Drive, and now we're making it happen, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's been a pretty crazy, the amount of media that's been covered now.
That's good, going into the holidays, so people probably are just, not as crazy about it anymore. Not crazy about it, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Things are winding down. But let's get into the first question. So I always like to start our Dreams and Drive interview going back, right? So tell me, close your eyes and imagine Coss, the little, 8-year-old. What do you think, what inspired you back then?
As a 8-year-old, I don't know. I was really money driven, and I seen poverty as a young child, and I knew what poverty was, and I felt it, and I knew that I didn't want to be under the poverty line, and I was hungry for money. As a kid, like 8 years old, I was probably collecting, I was collecting bottles from my neighbors to change them for nickels, and that was money that I was using for my lunch money,
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I was doing.
So you always had that like entrepreneurial spirit in you, even as a young child.
I guess.
Was
just a hustle.
Was there anything else that inspired you? Like, was there like, how would you describe yourself as like, a young child growing up? Were you like that soft spoken? Were you the crazy one in class? Like, what kind of kid were you?
I was pretty soft spoken. I was pretty crazy when I needed to be crazy. And I took a lot of risk, and I've gotten into a lot of trouble. But I was pretty soft spoken. I was not like somebody that was like, I was not the bully, but I would do stupid stuff, like pull a girl's hair or something. If somebody dared me to do something, I was probably gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
I loved playing baseball. Basketball. I mean, I was like really into sports, and I love like just hanging out, like going outside and playing and opening up the fire hydrant, spraying cars, making money off of like cleaning cars on the block.
You grew up in Manhattan, right?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us a little bit, some of the people listening in may not know about your life pre-ConBody, but maybe talk to us a little bit about your adolescent years and kind of what led you, I guess, what led you to being incarcerated.
So I guess it all started when I was a kid. I started smoking weed at 11, and I decided that I wanted to sell drugs because I seen the money that was bringing towards people that I knew and the people that I aspired to be. The people that I seen on my block were, people that was making money dealing drugs, and that's what I wanted to do. So at 13, I began, selling weed, and it quickly escalated to selling coke and crack on the block. And then eventually I inherited the corner of Eldridge and Broome in Manhattan. And from there, it just started blowing up. At 19, I was running one of the largest drug delivery services in New York City, and I was making over $2 million a year. I had over 20 people working for me, and it was just crazy spiral down that route of the world of drugs. And at 23, I was incarcerated, and I was sentenced to 7 years. And from there, I decided that, I don't know, I changed the way I was thinking due to like a spiritual awakening that I had in prison.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, with my situation of seeing my son in the place that he was, seeing my son in like the visit room and seeing him cry and, putting him through a lot of stuff. I didn't want that anymore. So
mm-hmm.
I made a decision, and when I went into prison, doctors told me I could die because of my health issues. So that helped me like start working out, and I lost 70 pounds in 6 months. And then I helped over 20 inmates, so it was over 1,000 pounds combined. And this is where I came up with the idea of starting ConBody. So what ConBody is a program, a fitness gym, which hires formerly incarcerated people to teach fitness classes. So
mm-hmm.
I actually opened up the studio right on the block where I started selling drugs at.
Oh wow! But let's take it. I want to pause you for a little bit because I want to go back a little bit. So you said you were running one of the biggest drug delivery services. Is that so? I'm not. I've never sold drugs, but is that different from like let's say selling drugs like on the corner versus like what does drug delivery mean?
Yeah, so it was like Uber.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Before, like, with a flip phone. Yeah, no, basically it was like a dispatcher. So you'll call, we had multiple phones, a couple dispatchers that would pick up the phone, and once they get the address, you know, and we'll send the driver over to you, and that driver will deliver to you, and you'll know what vehicles come in, what color, type, what corner they're going to be at, the southwest, southeast, northeast corner, like just exactly like what Uber does now, but without any apps.
I was gonna say that if that was legal, you guys could have had a good that could have been a good a good model.
Yeah, well, legally now they're doing that in Colorado, and they doing like the marijuana delivery service, so that's pretty crazy.
Wow. So what, I feel like, that had to be, I would say, it couldn't have been easy to run that. You said you had over 20 people working for you. What kind of like business training, or what was your training so that you actually knew how to run the business effectively and efficiently and make profit?
So it was pretty simple. Like the profit margins are pretty high in like the drug dealing world. You buy low, you buy a lot. The more you buy, the lower the prices get. So I was targeting a different target market. Also, I had people that were like pretty wealthy buying drugs, and I was just getting like, I'm just gonna keep it straight with you. I was getting keys, and I was paying $19,000 for a kilo of cocaine, and then bagging everything up and making $100,000 off of it.
Wow.
In revenue. So I would get $80,000 in profit. The workers would get about 20, and I'll see like a gross profit of like about $60,000.
So during this time, were you thinking of your?
I'm sorry. So that's just off of one key, but we were selling like 2 keys a week. So we were seeing about $100,000 a week. And I would just be shut down, and no one would call me, and I would keep going, and I would show up to, job sites and dress up nice, but every time I checked the box and said, yes, I have a felony, I was turned down, and it's frustrating, and you got to eat. So you eat the way you know how to eat, and that's what I did.
So could you tell our listeners a little bit about the spiritual awakening and kind of what led you to really pursuing fitness in prison and kind of changing your life around?
Yeah, so in prison, the doctors told me I could die because of my health issues. They said I had like 5 years to live. They told me if I didn't start working out, then I could have died of a heart attack within 5 years because of my cholesterol levels. And they suggested that I should start exercising and eating correctly. And obviously in prison, you can't eat correctly. So I started working out. And I lost 70 pounds in 6 months. And then I started catching the eyes of other inmates, and they, began working out with me. And I helped I helped like 23 inmates lose over 1,000 pounds combined. And from there, I didn't know where this would take me, and I didn't have the idea of like starting a boot camp at that moment until the end of my incarceration, where I had about 2 months left to go home, and I got into this altercation with this officer. He placed me on the wall to search me, and while he was searching me, he smacked me behind my head because I moved around a little bit, and I dropped down to the ground. And when I stood up, I turned around on him, and he felt like I was going to attack him, so he pulled a pin. The pin is this walkie-talkie, and they have this button, and once they press that button, you just need to embrace for impact.
Oh my God.
10 officers came to the site, and they beat the crap out of me. They threw me in solitary confinement. Solitary confinement, we call it the box. It's it's supposed to be 23 hours lockdown and 1 hour rec. Rec, which is like a cage outside of the box. But I didn't have that. I was in 24-hour lockdown, and I was beating my head because I told my son that I was coming home, and I couldn't come home. I told him that I had only 2 months left, and then I lied to him because I was now doing an extra year in prison because of the situation.
Wow. How old was he at that point?
He was 5
Okay.
and a half.
So he knew what was going on. So yeah.
And at this point, I was given, I started working with the tools that I had, and I tried to write letters, and I wrote a 10-page letter out to my family, letting them know that I'm not coming home. I fucked up again. Excuse my language. Mm-hmm. And I enclosed this letter in this envelope, and when I enclosed it, I realized that I didn't have a stamp to send out this letter with. So I was even more devastated, and I had no one to reach out to. About a week later, I received a letter from my sister, who's like super religious and like they call her Mother Teresa's child. But she tells me to read Psalm 91 and tells me that everything's going to be okay, and that, she still, believes in me and all this. But when she told me to read Psalm 91, I was like, F that, like, I'm not reading that stuff. And I took that letter and just threw it on the side of my bed. And it's sitting there for another couple days, 24-hour lockdown, nothing to do. I decided to pick up the Bible because that's what I had. And I never picked up the Bible while I was incarcerated. It was crazy. I turned to page Psalm 91, the pages that she told me to read, and as soon as I laid back on my bed and began reading it, a stamp fell out of my Bible. And it was the stamp that I needed to send out this letter with. And that really like resonated with me and made me believe that I was not that, I shouldn't be arrogant. There's something bigger than myself, and it quickly humbled me. And I accepted the fact that I wasn't that. I wasn't God, and I need to respect a higher power. And I'm not here like pushing religion or whatever, but this is what happened to me.
Yeah, I understand that. Mm-hmm.
And I began reading the Bible from front to back, and I started rereading it and started dissecting that I was, affecting not only the, my family and my son, but the thousands of people that I sold drugs to. And then I realized that they'd had families too. And that, I was creating a web of destruction, and I started praying and asking God, like, how can I get back to society? And I felt like the way I was giving back was through the world of fitness. And that's what I did. I came up with the idea of ConBody because of the image that I was helping. And I wrote out like a whole spreadsheet, of workouts and routines that I wanted to incorporate when I came out. And it quickly, I came home about a year later, and I came home with nothing. I came home with, no money, my mom's couch, and I came out with a dream. Dream to start a company and start a movement. And I started doing this in the park with nothing, and then quickly escalated. I started renting out a studio, gathered a group of people there, and from there it kept growing. And then we opened up our own gym, and what we do is hire formerly incarcerated people to teach fitness classes. And that's our whole mission today. Is we go into prisons, we go into actually Rikers Island and train inmates in there to become personal trainers, and we we're creating a direct pipeline from inside jail to, ConBody.
So just to give our listeners a timeline, when were you released from prison, and when did you launch ConBody?
Yeah, so I was released 2013, March 21st, 2013, and I launched ConBody January 2014.
Okay. So those 8 months, you were kind of just building it out and figuring out what you needed to do.
Yeah, I joined this program called the Five. Well, I was trying to look for a job. That was not working. So out of desperation, I created my own job. But I joined this program called the Five Ventures. It's defyventures.org. And what they do is have like an incubator for formerly incarcerated people. They believe that illegal entrepreneurs have the transferable skills to become legal entrepreneurs. And it was like a whole year program while I was doing my business plan with them and everything. And, I was basically doing that for a good year, and then I launched ConBody after that.
So do you believe that statement? I mean, illegal entrepreneurs have the transferable skills to be legal entrepreneurs, and did you see that when you were even, with the people that you were around when you were incarcerated?
Not everybody.
Okay.
Everybody.
You know why I say that? Because I guess I'm thinking of people that I know, right? And I don't want this to come out. I feel like it depends on the person, right? It really depends on the person and how they want to use those skills. Because some people that I know come out and they're like, you know what? I don't really care. I'm just going to be better at what I was doing before. And there has to be, like, as you said, some kind of awakening within yourself in order to really make those skills transferable, at least in my opinion,
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So let's think about those first, the first few months. You launched January 2014. What were those first few months of running your own legal business like, and what were some of the challenges that you faced then?
I don't know. I was still figuring things out. I was running my company with an iPhone 4. Like I didn't have a computer. I didn't have anything. I was just like taking people's names on notes, like the app notes, and like I made up like a waiver sheet and had people sign a waiver, and I was just going up to people on the street and pitching them, and just like telling my story in 10 seconds and telling them to come to ConBody, and doing this thing in the park with me, and it was a hustle. There was times where people would tell me that, yeah, I'm coming, and they didn't show up, but it was just all about consistency. Like I said, like showing up to deliver, and I knew I had a great service, and I knew I had a great product, and I knew all that I needed to do was keep showing up, and it'll eventually pop off. It took a while. It was not easy.
Do you remember the moment that you realized or that you knew that ConBody was becoming something that was going to be a viable, profitable business for you?
I think it was, I don't know, when I had two people in the park just training. It gave me chills. It gave me goosebumps. And I remember that. And I remember like looking up to the sky and being like, thank God, like I got some customers, and it was like straight profit. It was like revenue positive since day one, because I didn't have to pay rent. I did it in the park, and but I knew I was going to be profitable when I started doing it into like rented out studios, and it was just like so many people coming, and I couldn't fit any people in my room.
Wow.
And then eventually I had another trainer jump on board, and then he couldn't fit anybody in his room, and then we were like, we need our own location, So we started working on that and trying to raise funds to open up our own locations.
So during this time, who were the type of people that were coming to, to your classes, and how did you figure out what your target market was going to be?
I just went up to girls with yoga pants.
Why them?
Because they looked like they were working out. In the street, they just looked like they just came out of a gym. I don't know, I just went up to them. And there was a lot of them in my neighborhood, so I started pitching them.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked. Yeah. So that was it.
So one of the things that I really admire about, your site and the brand is I really think that you guys have a strong brand presence, right? Like if you go to your website, you have a sleek design. If you go to your social media pages, everything is kind of really branded with that ConBody do the time feel. How important was branding for you, or was it something that you invested in early on, or was it something that as more funds came in, you fed it?
No, it took a while. It took a while to learn. I got help from a lot of people. It was not like my idea. Actually, my ex-girlfriend slash co-founder. Another story. Re helped me brand everything, and she was really good at designing and stuff like that, and taught me a lot. And she give a shout out to her, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as for black and white coloring and keeping the same tone, and I didn't really know anything about this. I didn't know how to use Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop and all this stuff, and I had to learn, and I learned, and I started really understanding brands and looking at other brands and looking at other color schemes and being consistent in everything you're doing is really important. And as you see the website, we're actually doing other things. So a lot of people ask me how am I going to scale this venture, and I started, I came up with the idea of ConBody Live. So right now you can virtually work out through videos for $5 a month with any formerly incarcerated person you want to. So every month we're going to be introducing a different formerly incarcerated person. We launched this about 6 weeks ago, and we got over 4,500 people signed up.
Wow.
From 20 different countries. And it's been really been taken really well and receptive to a lot of people, and a lot of people just want to really help us,
Mm-hmm. So do you remember who were some of your inspirations? You said you started looking at other brands. What brands really stood out to you that you think had a good, strong brand presence and marketing strategy?
SoulCycle.
Definitely. There are people who go to SoulCycle are they're cult, they love their SoulCycle.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and just it's and Barry's bootcamp and all these other boot camps and classes and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just seeing them and seeing what they do and the experience of walking in and how you feel internally before you go into a new instructor's class, and it just gave me ideas to improve my brand and improve my experience. I just and then I felt like I could do it better, so I just made it happen.
So I have a question. I'll preface this with giving you a little bit background about myself. So when I went to Princeton, when I was at Princeton, I was part of a program called the PD Green Prisoner Assistance Program. And basically what we did was every week we went into local New Jersey prisons, and we tutored inmates who were getting their GEDs and high school diplomas. So all throughout college, I spent every Friday in prison, helping younger inmates with their GEDs. And one of the things, and when I graduated, I was part of a program called at the Vera Institute. Have you heard of them? The Vera
No.
Institute of Justice. Well, they're basically a program. They're like a nonprofit in New York City. And I was basically working on a college education program for people in prison. And one of the things that really came up was the whole idea of like, what do you call someone who's in prison? Do you call them a convict? Do you call them a prisoner? Like, ex-con or whatever. And there's a lot of debate about how people should be called, right? And so I find it interesting that your company's name is ConBody. How did you come up with the name, and do you feel like, do you think that it's, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is, like, how did you come up with the name? Now, I'll go from there, because I'm just interested in that story.
Yeah, a lot of people tell me that, and especially a lot of people that are in the prison reform field, they're like, oh, I don't know, I don't really respect that name, and blah, 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 and all this other stuff. And I'm like, well, I just want to own it.
Mm-hmm.
I came out and I started working. My first job that I found was an internship at a not-for-profit organization. This not-for-profit helps people on public assistance find employment. A lot of people that were on public assistance had records. And every time they would come into our program, my fellow colleagues would talk shit about them and say, this person would never amount to anything, they're going to go right back to the street and blah, 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 and talk shit. And, but they didn't know I had a felony. They didn't know I had a record. I kept quiet about it, and I felt ashamed of it, and I felt like I was hiding myself behind it, until one day I just told them, like, you know what? Like, this is what I'm doing. This is what I did, and I quit, and I'm going to make this happen. And I just owned it. And I feel like I don't want to hide my past. I don't want to feel ashamed of what I did. I just want to move forward, and I want people to respect it,
Mm-hmm. Now that's a great story, because I think it just speaks to the importance of you said, of owning your story, right? And really standing up for what you believe in, and the experience and the journey that you've had, because all of us have our own journeys, and all of us may have things that we try to hide behind, but sometimes when you put it on the front burner, you don't get burned. Hopefully that wasn't a bad imagery, but you get what I'm trying to say there, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that I really, I want to ask you is, what do you really think, what goes into change? Like, you said that spiritual awakening you had, finding that stamp in the Bible, really allowed you to humble yourself, and that kind of was the catalyst for your own change. But for people who are listening in, who are, at a crossroads, what advice would you give them if they're looking to really put forth change in their lives?
I don't know. It all depends on a person,
Mm-hmm.
If you really want to change, you just gotta believe. You gotta, like, be consistent. You're gonna fail. You're gonna be turned down. You just gotta believe. And if you believe that, and I feel like everything is gonna work out no matter what. No matter what, in whatever position I am, I'm going to wake up, I'm going to eat, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to keep moving and keep living life, and I think that's what matters, and that's real success,
Mm-hmm.
I see my mom as a successful person as well. Like, she didn't make $1 billion, and she didn't, become rich or whatever, but she woke up and found a way to feed my siblings and I, and keep showing up and delivering, and she's living okay, and she's surviving, and she has clothes, and I feel like that's what real success is.
Definitely, and I think defining what success means to us is something that's important, because a lot of times a lot of us are out here looking for success. We don't really know how we're defining it,
Yeah.
So one thing I want to ask you is, so you have ConBody up, and now you have ConBody Live. What's some challenges that you're facing like right now in your business, and how are you working through that?
I need help with technology. I don't know. I need to raise more money to, give more people opportunities. And I have a lot of people hitting me up. I get like jail mail all the time, wanting to work with us, and it's sad. I can't, it's a huge problem, and I can't solve it quick enough. And I just gotta live day by day and be patient and again believe that everything's gonna work out. And I've come this far, and I feel like, no matter what, it'll get solved, and everything really happens for a reason. But I think that's a major problem that I'm having. It's like I'm getting all this influx of great people, people that are really, really awesome, and I can't give them an opportunity because I don't have, the vast opportunity to give them an opportunity.
So describe that. Do you mean like you can't? So you're getting people who are writing you who want to be trainers when they get out, but you don't have enough. You don't have enough business, or you don't have enough scale yet.
Well, it's not enough business. It's about like opening up more locations. Like if I have more locations, I got more opportunities to employ more people. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
I have one location. I have this online, and we're looking to open up a second location by the springtime. And it's like, it's difficult. It's opening up one location at a time. I only could employ 15 to 20 people each location, and there's over 100 million Americans with criminal histories. Every time I go into a prison, there's like 80% of the guys or people there wanting to join our movement and wanting to work out with us. So it's hard.
Yeah, well, maybe there's somebody listening in who could, who may have a proposed, answer or some suggestions, but it is hard. And what I'm hearing also is I'm hearing that you feel like this is kind of like your purpose. You know what I mean? Do you feel like ConBody is what you are supposed to be doing and is your life's purpose?
Yeah. I feel like this is a chapter, yes.
Okay.
I feel like there's way more to come.
And let's say you weren't doing ConBody. What do you think you would be doing, if you hadn't had this idea?
I don't know. I guess I would be working and just like working on, living a honest living. Mm-hmm. Or maybe going back to school. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I know I would be progressing.
And how do you feel, now that your son probably, he looks up to you now? How's that feeling? What's the difference in feeling that you had from when, you said you were so sad to have to tell him that you wouldn't be home, and now him being able to see all that you're doing?
He's really, I think he's really inspired. And he goes to school and brags and says, my daddy is on TV and this and that. And he's a really good kid. Really good kid. I've been blessed to have a beautiful child who is doing the right thing and I don't even know if he came out of me because he's too good. Yeah, he comes home and he wants to like do dishes and stuff, and I'm like, who the hell are you?
Who are you?
Yeah, like not my child. Yeah.
So what's next for Coss? Like, what can we really look forward to in 2017?
So my goal is to get 100,000 subscribers on ConBody Live, and employ 50 formerly incarcerated people, and that's my goal for 2017.
So you said 100,000 subscribers.
Yep.
And employ how many?
Over 50 ex-cons.
Okay. So how many subscribers are you at now?
45 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think is going to be your biggest challenge to meeting that 100,000 subscriber mark?
Challenge, I don't think it's going to be a challenge. I think what needs to be done is more marketing and more awareness. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that don't know about this, you know. I feel like there's a lot of people that care, and there's a lot of people that need this, and, you know, just need to know about it, you know. We need to reach a larger market.
And $5 a month, that's a steal. You know, that is definitely something that I feel like most people can afford. And a lot of people, they give themselves excuses about why, you know, I don't want to go to the gym, I don't want to have to drive or whatever, but you can actually work out in the comfort of your own home. So I think that's also a big sell to it as well.
Yeah.
And I also think people like the boot camp feeling. I personally, I would sign up because I hate going to the gym.
Well, you know,
I
would sign up. You are gonna.
Yes. Like, I hate going to the gym. So, like, my favorite type of, like, fitness classes are either dance classes or, like, you know, ones that you're actually doing. You don't feel like you're working out. You feel like you're doing something. Like, I can't go to the gym and just sit there and lift weights. I get bored and all that other stuff. So.
Yeah. No, you'll definitely feel it.
All right, so let's go to our lightning round, Coss. So this part of our interview is where I'm going to give you a prompt, and I want you to tell me the first word that comes to mind. And this is going to go with our whole like dreams and drive metaphor. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. The first word is park.
Park, you said?
Mm-hmm.
And so you want me to just describe it?
Oh, just give me like the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word park.
And the first word that came to me was just hustle.
All right. Reverse.
Backwards.
Neutral.
Stagnant.
Drive.
Pushing forward.
See, that wasn't too hard, right?
No.
So if you want to be a dream driver, you also have to have the keys to success. So tell me, Coss, 3 things that you think every dream driver needs to have in their toolkit before they hit the road.
I think 3 things that people need is their body,
Mm-hmm.
An idea, and know where they want to be, have goals. Mm-hmm. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do? What do you want to do for the next 5 or 10 minutes, you know?
Because these 3 things were definitely what helped you get through these past 3 years, right?
Yeah.
When you feel like giving up, what keeps you going? Because a lot of times, you know, dream driving is hard. Working toward your dreams is something that you have to really be fueling yourself every day. So what do you do to keep yourself inspired, Coss?
I mean, I pray. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of days that I wake up and I want to give up. And I pray and I ask God, give me another hour. And I feel like he always answers, and it answers in different ways. It could be an email of a client telling me that they had an awesome time and they can't wait to come back, or one of my trainers tells me, you know, I feel I feel really inspired, or I feel like, like really appreciative that you gave me an opportunity to like feed my family, and that's what keeps me going. It's bigger than myself now. It's not only about me. I need to do this for others.
Thank you so much, Coss, for sharing your dream driving story. And, people listening in, definitely visit www.conbody.com, right?
Yep.
And sign up for
ConBodyLive.com.
Okay, and sign up. And if you're in New York City, you should go take a class. Can you do walk-ins, or do you have to sign up online?
No, you could come right in and we'll set you right up.
Are you guys open 7 days a week, or are there certain schedules?
Yes, 7 days a week, but we have certain schedules around the 7 days a week. So.
All right, well, people can just check out the site and get more information there. But once again, thank you so much, Coss. And I know if I'm in New York, I have to come check you guys out.
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 55 with Coss Marte. I hope that you guys enjoyed hearing his dream driving story and his personal keys to success. If you want today's show notes and want to get links to all of the things that we talk about in today's episode, just go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 55. You can also join our Dreams and Drive community by going to dreamsanddrive.com/join. Remember to use the hashtag DreamsAndDrive when you're sharing content on social, or even just tag us at Dreams and Drive, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter, and you will get a reply from someone from our team, you guys. It's just been so amazing to see all the amazing stuff that you guys are posting and engaging with online. So just continue to do it and know that you are helping somebody out there put their dreams in drive. All right, so keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 56.